Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it. Here's the thing. I don't understand, though, why people make fun of cold sores. Like, when you think about it, people don't make fun of AIDS or
No.
HIV.
No.
So why, I guess it's like another sexually transmitted disease. Why is that one like people make fun of it so much?
I don't know. I'm not in a circle where people make fun of it a lot, but
like, or why is it so shameful to have that?
because it's visible. You can have HPV, you can't see it. You can have AIDS. 9 times out of 10, you can't see it. Or you can have you can be HIV positive yet undetectable, and you can't see it. You can have chlamydia and gonorrhea and syphilis. Can't see them.
Yeah.
So that one you see, and it's just like the scarlet letter of like, oh, you a slut.
But you know what, though?
But you don't have to be a slut.
It's not. I mean, I don't know. It just gets so annoyed because it's stigma and like things like psoriasis and eczema or even like acne and bacne. I just wish that we would all kind of just move on. There's so much more important things to deal with in the world than to be making fun of somebody else. Because trust me, when you have any of these things,
changes your world immediatody.
It changes your world immediately and you feel awful. And I don't know. I think that we all need to band together and just
love
the love. But on that note, today we are providing some really helpful tips for how to help, minimize the appearance of, flare-ups such as psoriasis or eczema or a cold sore.
Anything that is like aggressively red, pink, bruising. We've gotten a lot of tips after we did the psoriasis episode. Yeah. We got a lot of feedback off the psoriasis episode, and they were like, but how do we cover it when we still have it? So voila.
Well, we've got some great tips today. And on that note, everyone, hi, I'm Amber.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is Art Beauty, the real truth
about the fake shit.
Mm-hmm. How's your day going, by the way?
My day is going great. It is such weird weather. So it's like you don't know what to wear. It's like cold. It's not cold. It's rainy. It's snowy. It's like, nah.
I know. So...
And I don't know about you, but like, how's your skin reacting to that?
I went back to back to Murad. So I'm back to Murad has their refreshing cleanser, which is really hydrating and not stripping.
What color is that?
It's the pink one. It's like this color.
Yeah.
And I also use the hydrodynamic quenching serum, which is great. And I've, it's funny, the last time that we had our guest on, she swore by this SK2 facial treatment essence. And I have to tell you, between those, like my skin has actually been pretty good. Really good. Yeah, I know. And I've been drinking a ton of water because I've been traveling a lot. My diet, on the other hand, has been total shit.
Oh.
Yeah. How's your diet been?
It's been great. I'm like fresh off of a true food poisoning. Not like the one you like tell your friends you had because you just didn't want to go to the party the next day.
Yeah.
I'm talking a
skinny bitch.
Oh my goodness. I was poisoned.
Really?
I've had it a handful of times over the years. So like I know what to do. And that's just like, get a movie going and just try and chill out because you're going to be up for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that hurts the next day. And it's like, and you're like stuck on like a really simple diet for a little bit, but it,
Isn't it sick though? Like, I feel like, did you hear what I said? I'm like, ooh, lucky you feel skinny. Only in, I don't know, America, New York, like who the F are we that we celebrate this? It's like so disgusting. What is it from Devil Wears Prada where she's like,
you're so
I'm
lucky.
one stomach bug away from my goal weight.
But the thing is though, I'm approaching 40, right?
Yeah.
It's around the corner for me. I am like freaking out.
Why? Can I tell you? I love 40.
Okay, you know what? You're really new in the door of 40. So yes, I love you
Yeah.
for saying that. I will probably love 40 too. I will own it just like you do. We are similar in that way. But I'm saying my recovery off feeling sick.
Was slower.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
almost like you remember when like your last really bad hangover?
Mm-hmm.
So you were like, oh, I can't recover
Yeah.
like I used to, or what
Yeah.
like, I used to be able to kick a stomach bug and like keep it moving. I couldn't do that this time.
Yeah.
And then like this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, I have like heartburn.
I got heartburn
What
the
the
other day too. That part of 40 is not fun.
What the fuck? I've never had heartburn
I had never
ever
had
in my
heartburn
life.
either.
Ever. And I don't like, I'm not a big drinker. Okay, yes, I drink coffee, but I didn't even have anything to eat yet. I woke up with heartburn. I'm like, this is old. This is getting old. This is what this is.
That part of it sucks. But the fact that we live in a world where you can like laser and inject and do all of these things that you can do, not to stop the clock, but to really embrace your most youthful looking self and sort of press a little bit of pause. We live in good times.
We do.
We
do. And you know what? A little Pepto-Bismol went a long way.
All right. So on that note, from food poisoning to fixing your psoriasis to saying goodbye to Ryan, there he went. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. The pink stuff. It works.
You have pink earrings on. I'm just going to set this like right here.
There you go. I love it. We've got a great guest today, Ariel Lewis. She was on talking about those bullshit brushes a while ago. If you didn't get to check out that episode, you definitely want to. And she's got some really, I think, wonderful tips for how to cover up, any kind of flare up, whether it's eczema, psoriasis, if you've got acne, a cold sore, all of the things. And you know what? It's easier than you think. So check this out.
So in my opinion, that it really comes down to there's different formulas, right? All concealers come in different textures and different formulas. There's some really lightweight formulas that are super buildable, like Naked by Urban Decay, right? Which is fabulous for under eye areas, but would be the worst product to try to cover up as redness or something that's heavily textured because it's just too lightweight. The other one that comes to mind is a lot of people love the MAC body face and body makeup.
Yes, no.
That would not work for something like this. It's the one thing where in order to obtain the coverage that you want, you're going to want to go with something that's a little bit of a thicker texture. So there's a couple of options that I think people have. You have to keep in mind that the products that you're going to put on your face to cover up a little bit of rosacea or psoriasis are going to be completely different than the products you would put on your skin. So let's say that you're going to an event and some psoriasis kind of starts to, show up right on your décolleté area and you're wearing a low cut dress. Your body needs a different type of coverage than your face would. So I would recommend something like, for a long time, we've had products like Dermablend out there. They work fine. The thing I don't love about them is that they tend to oxidize very dark. So oxidizing, for people who might not know what that is or aren't familiar with the term, just means that essentially after a product has laid on your skin for generally after like 10, 15 minutes, it starts to kind of deepen by a shade or two, or sometimes turns a little bit orange, a little sallow. So a product that oxidizes is an ideal. If you've got really fair, there's like a medium grade skin tone that works even if it oxidizes, but most women really, it doesn't look great. And I tend to come from a space of assuming that most of the people that are listening to you aren't professional makeup artists. They're everyday women that are like, look, I just need like what's going to work and take the think work out of it. I think that the trends go along and they change all the time and they're always trying to upsell us on stuff as consumers, right? Forget professionals, but as consumers, you go into a department store or into Ulta, whatever, and they're like, oh, this is the newest secret sauce. It's this green stuff and green contrasts red. And yeah, absolutely it does. But for the woman who doesn't really know how to blend and who isn't familiar with different textures and how those mediums kind of like can affect one another and doesn't really understand what oxidation is, most of those formulas from what I've seen don't work great. So I like to stay away from all of those like very catchy green tones.
Like primer colors.
Yeah, like the Makeup FX green primer.
Right.
Can't stand it.
So unnecessary. Sometimes.
Not necessary. Most of the time, I find. I'm a
when
professional makeup artist. I know how to work with those green primers, but even still, why would I want to make my life any more difficult?
Correct. As you continue as a consumer, right? I've worked at those stores. I'm not sure if you have in your career ever, but there is something on, like when you check out, when you clock out, they used to do your print and you would they would ask you, what was your UPI? And I'd be like, what does that stand for? They'd be like, your units per transaction. They want to know if you were able to sell that client more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And you got literally judged on how many items you sold each client.
It's
upsell. So
100%.
From behind the scenes to you, you don't need the green. Don't always take the upsell. It's not always necessary.
No.
And just know that is truly, truly how people are judged at that workplace.
And I highly recommend people just, if there's a makeup artist in your life that you love, ask her if she'll go and do a personal shopping experience with you. We provide that for a lot of our clients because we're not selling them anything. We're just literally going with them as a professional that's not in it for the, commission to just give them that guidance. So that's a great way around it.
Back to the body. How do you feel about Kim Kardashian's body line that she just...
That is exactly what I was just going to say.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So I love it. I was looking for it in my kit. I actually let one of my artists borrow it because we have a client coming up. The client already passed. She just hasn't returned it yet. But I really, really love it. I was going to say you've had options like Dermablend and Cover FX and things like that for a long time.
Yeah.
But Kim, I think because she's had psoriasis, she personally has suffered from that. And being in that world of the limelight constantly and just the unforgivingness of the, high HD quality film and all, she's really coined that corner of the market in a way that I haven't seen anybody else frankly touch. I think her product doesn't oxidize at all when you blend it the right way. Applying it with a brush. Yeah. So see that body brush right there?
That body brush.
That body brush is made of the same types of bristles as this. It's just shaped kind of like a kabuki, which is nice because you can flat lay it, right? So it's kind of like paintbrush style for larger areas. That works. Something like this would be used in a circular motion. Something like that would be used kind of back and forth flat.
So you're talking about this product right here, the Skin Perfecting Body Foundation?
There's there's shimmery versions and then there's Skin Perfecting.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you want like that iridescent-y. But like for me, when I'm in between spray tans and I'm a little blotchy, I love it because I can just hit my arms really quick. And then I will set it with somewhat of a blow dryer because I think everything kind of oxidizes on me no matter what, whether it's which way or another. And I make it happen faster. And then I just go, and it does not transfer to your clothes.
Oh,
so pro tip, it doesn't transfer to your clothes generally, right? But if you're going to go sweating, right? Like that's never a good idea. You want to wear something like that for a photo shoot, in my opinion, or if you're going to go out dancing and stuff, you do want to make sure that you set it with a powder, but you don't want to make the mistake of going back over it with some sort of a setting spray. Because again, you're messing with the formula and it's not guaranteed to not transfer if you go putting added product to it. Exactly. It can break it down. And the other thing I want to say about it is just most women, again, who are not professional makeup artists, they figure, oh, I've got like one little red spot here. I'm just going to like take a dab of it like this. And there you go. Like I'm done. I got the spot. You want to go at least 5 times outside the spot. Yeah. So if I had one little spot right here, let's say the size of a quarter, and it was really red or heavily textured or just completely, stood out against my skin tone, or in a client who's much fairer than I am, it really doesn't matter. I would go out 5 times the size of where that space is. And that's because you really want to make sure that there's some sense of uniformity and that it looks, because to Ryan's point, most products do oxidize to some extent, especially on fairer complexions. You want to go beyond that space so you don't wind up with this little like line of
demarcation.
Right. That's clear, that makes it a dead giveaway. A product that, is kind of a heavy investment, but if you tend to flare up a lot with something specifically like psoriasis, which is throughout the body, this product that I'm about to recommend is definitely not something you would use on your face. It's the Dura by Temp 2, and it's an airbrush product. So you would use it along with an airbrush gun.
Who's your favorite airbrush gun to like introduce to clients? Who do you love?
So my
Like-
gun's pretty expensive. I don't think it's worth the investment for
No.
the average woman, but like a Dynair gun is fine. A Luminous gun
Yep,
is fine.
yep.
I would say though, I'm not sure with this particular product, it's a little bit more heavy duty. You would need a gun that can actually be taken apart. So, and that's
how do
where
you like Temp 2?
I love Temp 2. That's exclusively what I use.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I can take it apart, I can clean it. This is alcohol-based makeup. It's the same product they use on like Angelina Jolie when she has to get all of her tattoos covered up. It's what we use for, here we go. Okay. My point here being, I didn't need something green
Or
underneath
yellow.
this, or yellow
purple.
or anything. I just needed something that had the coverage that I need. And this, something like this, if I was someone who broke out a lot with episodes of psoriasis throughout my legs and my body, I would think it would be worth the investment of having something like this, because the only thing that removes it is alcohol. And I've never had a problem with a client saying that it irritates them. So that's the other thing. You really got to test small patches of your skin. You can't just go all willy-nilly buying Dermablend and Kim K and Temp 2 and slapping it all over your sensitive skin, because you might get a breakout from it.
Sure.
And this might not necessarily work for everyone. Everyone's skin is
You've
different,
got to test it. And probably not a bad
you
idea
have to test it on small patches.
And probably not a bad idea to test it when you're not having a flare up, just to make sure that you don't have some sort of a reaction to it, when your skin is in the most healthy and calm state, let's say. What about, what about, you said that that's for the body. What about for the face?
So the one last thing that I was going to recommend for the body really quick though, just because airbrush might not be something that everybody's, willing to go and invest in. Yeah. There's some products out on the market now that are professional grade tattoo cover-up makeup.
Body Impressions Total
Skin
Tattoo.
Effects.
Skin Effects. Okay.
And these just tend to be very kind of thick foundations. You can tell by the crack in this one that, my recommendation for using something like this is to add a little bit of oil, like a little bit of beauty oil to it, and then kind of work it into your fingers or into your sponge. These brushes are perfect for stuff like that. I always make fun of these brushes. They're like the toothbrushes. I hate these. What are they used for? I use them for that because I don't care what happens to them. Another brand that I've seen, you asked for face. So I'm not a big fan of this brand for it's not my go-to for makeup for most people. But if you're looking at someone who has some, again, highly textured and red, flaring in their face, this is safe to use on your face, and it's a pretty thick consistency, which is going to cover anything up, again, without the need of some sort of additional green or purple or yellow or orange or lipstick underneath your eyes and then put this on. This is going to do it all by itself. But these products, I don't know if you can tell from me kind of doing this, but let's see here.
Wow.
Started rubbing that off of my hand from the other thing. But
the company is called?
This is Mascara Beauty. Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of them.
Cara.
Oh, I've never even heard of them either, but it looks like it's very thick.
It's super thick. Yeah.
Okay. It's super thick.
They sell this as this is your foundation, everyday life. Like, it's perfect. And if you sell Mascara Beauty, I'm not knocking it. It's just not for me. I don't particularly love this consistency for what I do. I feel very bad when I knock products.
Oh,
no, you're
there's
just
pros and cons to it.
But what about when you have something like a cold sore, right? And we're trying to cover up things like that.
So you want to use a small version of a brush like this, and you want to make sure more than anything that it's clean. That's the number one thing, because that cold sore will spread. If you're just thinking, oh, it's no big deal, I'm going to take my beauty blender that I love and just pop a little bit of foundation right on top of it and it's going to go away. Don't do that. Like, cold sores are pretty contagious. So you want to have a brush that is clean, and just to get or you can even use a Q-tip. A Q-tip works really well. Use a Q-tip or one of those cheap little, sponges that you get at the drugstore, and use that with the same product that you're using. If you're going to use something like this, I think thicker foundations and thicker concealers are exactly for something like that. If you have a raised pimple or a cold sore, that's where that's useful. That's not great all over your face. That's going to be just too much heavy, cakey coverage. But in certain areas where you need it, but don't forget, with a cold sore, there's chapped skin around that. And the same thing goes for an open acne, right? So it's not going to change the texture of it. You have to have realistic expectations for what your coverage is going to look like. You can make it look completely perfect with a ring light and in some photos, But in real life, you're still going to see like the flakiness around it, and it might ooze because, let's be real, like that's what it is. It's an open wound.
Yeah.
Wow. You know who used to live with like almost that situation every month was, remember Jenny McCarthy? She was like,
Oh
she's
yeah.
married
Yeah.
to Donnie Wahlberg. She was on like MTV. She was like one of my
Mhm.
favorite MTV personalities back in the day. And she's just so outspoken and such a great woman. She gets them like right around the time she gets her period, and she gets it in the same spot, like right there. And she like
Sucks.
openly talked about it. Remember when like Rosie O'Donnell had her show?
Mhm.
She launched some silly product, and then they were talking about like she literally got her Sharpie out and dissected the cover of the product and said, "So today, I had my monthly canker, my monthly cold sore, I was bloated here," and she totally drew all over her own picture, and it was so cool. And the way that she got around it was she would set her foundation and then use her lip liner, and she would never
Mhm.
let the makeup artist touch it because she's like, they're so contagious, and I don't
Yeah.
even want anyone
Yeah.
professional even really to go near it.
No,
And
when
what
I'm
people-
doing it as a professional makeup artist, I don't touch it with a brush.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's smart. People don't realize too that you can like spread it from your lips to your eyes, right? Anything that
Mhm.
has any,
Can turn into
you
a
know,
sty.
of the mucus. What?
Yeah.
It can
A
turn into a
sty.
sty.
Yeah. Well, but you can get, your eyes can have cold sores. It's
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you call them styes though, don't you? Or do you call them cold sores?
no. You can have like herpes of the eye.
Oh.
It looks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, but listen, it is what it is. And if you're suffering with that, you're not alone.
No, you're not.
You're not alone.
No,
So
definitely not.
So yeah.
And don't feel, I mean, maybe this is valid to say just out loud, hearing it from professional makeup artists, don't feel embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
Don't feel like, oh, I don't even know if you can do my makeup. Like, a professional knows what they're doing, and they know, I mean, for sure, if you see somebody coming at you with a foundation brush that clearly was just used on somebody else, you want to stop them right away. But, most professionals know how to deal with situations like that. And we're not like stiffy about it. We're not freaked out by it. Like, it's part of our profession. It's what we do.
I think it's wonderful that you're saying that. I bet there's a lot of people out there who really want to hear that, because you know what, let's be honest, those things are going to come up. Anything that like is like with the nervous system. So you've got psoriasis, you've got eczema, you've got cold sores. Generally it's going to come up when you're nervous about something, right? Or like at the worst time. So a lot of times it's like for those big events, like a wedding, or, like a big, I don't know, like the big event, you're going to either have the pimple or have the cold sore or have the flare up. And that's when you're going to need to call a professional the most to say, come help me. Thank you, Ariel, so much. I mean, I feel like, again, people are probably listening to this, and when it's on somebody else, it's not as big deal. But once it hits your own face, once it hits your own body, once it hits your own skin, it can feel like the most epic, horrible thing. And I love that you really drove home the point. Listen, people have psoriasis, people get eczema, people get cold sores, people get bruises. And you know what? Try to just put on your best face and put on your game face, and don't let something like that stop you from going to the event, from going to the party, from not having the best time, because at the end of the day, it'll be worth it to get out there. But I feel like having that makeup tips can really give people a little bit of confidence back.
And to your point, I think that what you're saying is spot on. And I often tell women who maybe are self-conscious about something, forget if it's not psoriasis or a breakout or something, they're self-conscious about something about their face that they dislike, right? Play up your eyes. Play up your eyes, put on some lashes, make sure your brows look fire, make sure your hair looks fabulous and your dress fits you nicely and it's tailored and cut well. No one is looking at whatever that thing is that drives you crazy. No one is looking at it, because literally the focal point is right here, or just like you overall, So people, women in general, men too, we just need to keep that in mind. Nobody's staring at our one broken nail, right? They're looking at us overall and saying, "Wow, you look well put together," and you presume you are exuding confidence and whatever. So it reads that way.
That is such like wonderful, wonderful advice. Ariel, thank you so much for doing this. If people want to find you, what's the best way to find you?
On Instagram at ARIEL LEWIS LLC. They can go to our website, which is ariellewis.com. And yeah, I mean, I do tutorials every Tuesday. So if people are interested in more practical how to apply types things, it's always fun to join us for that.
I love you. Where are the Tutorial Tuesdays?
Or on Instagram, on our stories every Tuesday.
Alrighty, so we will be checking you out. And guess what? This is happening on Tuesday. So what time is your? Yeah, it's Tuesday now. If you're listening to this, what time are your tutorials?
So they vary. They used to be more in the afternoon. Now they're more in the evenings. Feedback has been it's easier to watch like on, after they've gotten home and had dinner and stuff. So they're a little bit later now. Amazing.
So download our podcast. You're listening to our podcast now. And then when you get home, you go check out Ariel Lewis's Tuesday tutorials. And of course, if you guys want to find us, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Art Beauty Podcast.
And you can check us out on YouTube now, youtube.com/artbeauty. And as always, we're going to see you next Tuesday.